The Hitcher is a 1986 road action horror film directed by Robert Harmon. It stars Rutger Hauer and C. Thomas Howell along with Jennifer Jason Leigh. It was loosely inspired by the Doors song, Riders on the Storm, and surprisingly does not get talked about a lot. Let's fix that. This is my review of The Hitcher. The plot of this film revolves around a young man named Jim Halsey, played by Howell, who is traveling the rural roads of Texas to deliver a car to Los Angeles. While he is riding, he decides to pick up a hitchhiker named John Ryder, played by Hauer, to help him not feel so alone. Big mistake, however, as this hitchhiker has a sinister plan for Jim, a plan that will involve his blood splattered all over his clothes. Of course, dying wasn't exactly on Jim's agenda, so he boots him out of the car when the killer side of John takes over. But this will not stop John, because not only has he killed before, but he becomes determined to keep chasing Jim until he is dead. What's worse is that he manages to frame him for murder, so not only can he not go to the cops, but now he has them after him as well. I like the way the story plays out, because it just grips you right away. It does not waste time getting across the idea that John Ryder is not someone you want to cross paths with. And once that is established, the movie keeps you on your toes not only due to how unpredictable the main villain got, but also how merciless as well. Jim has to really fight if he wants to survive his encounter with the Hitcher, since, as mentioned before, he is persistent. What also makes him such a terrifying villain is how intelligent he is. Every time our protagonist thought he'd ran far enough away from the Hitcher, he'd either end up running into him again or finding some sign they'd already been where he was. Just because of this, I was nervous even when John wasn't around because I knew his presence would be known again, but what made the suspense so unbearable was I didn't know when exactly he'd show up or what exactly he had in store. I give plot an A-. It grips you and takes you so many unexpected turns as well. Next is acting, and it was fantastic. I really did care about Jim's character and wanted desperately to see his survival, and I think all that has to do with the astonishing performance by C. Thomas Howell. He did a great job of conveying not only great fear, which only made the suspense more uneasy, but also determination, which definitely helped his character grow on me and want to see his escape. Rutger Hauer also gives a very intimidating side to his character. He didn't need to sound tough or threatening to come off as scary. The implication of what he was capable of, as well as his calm yet maniacal demeanor, really do help get across just how much of a psychotic, wayward killer he truly is. He didn't even need to say anything. The sadistic nature he'd established at the beginning was enough to just make his presence disturbing. I give acting an A-. Finally, directing. The desert is a scary place not only due to the low survival rate, but also the vastness and isolation. Robert Harmon was aware of this and really emphasized it in this film. The ambience of that setting is done in an eerie way in this film, especially given the fact that a killer is after our main protagonist. And the protagonist is also very vulnerable and easy to find due to how isolated the desert is and how little help he has out there. So that made me even more scared for his safety when he was alone. Also, the way Robert sets everything up in this film is also why this film was so great, because not only is John threatening to kill Jim, but he also takes note of his license plate number, and has his face stored in his memory. He also gets the law against him as well, which only makes our protagonist more unfortified. I give directing I'll give it an A. Overall, The Hitcher is a gripping thrill ride that is packed with fantastic action, gripping horror, and overwhelming suspense. It takes a lot of unexpected twists and can get pretty daring, especially for the early 80s. In fact, I think this might be the first horror film where a child is killed, since there was children in one of the cars of the victims. In fact, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think this is the first horror film, as the earliest horror film that I can think of, where a child is killed. Okay, he also had Frankenstein, but this one is done in a pretty graphic way. Anyway, like I said, I give The Hitcher an A-. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and sub for more content.